Welcome back to paradise. Once again, we have breaking news regarding a volcano that's erupted in the eastern part of Indonesia on the island of Flores, which has the potential to impact flights into and out of Bali. Now, it's all developing really quickly at the moment, so we're going to get into the details and figure out exactly what's going on. If you're new to the channel and you're interested in these volcano updates or any updates about Bali at all really, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I will continue to post updates about the volcano and other Bali issues as time goes on. The volcano is called Gunung Lewotobi, and the volcano is actually a two-peaked volcano. There is the male section and the female section, two different sized peaks. So one of them is called Gunung Lewotobi Laki-laki, which is the male one, and then Gunung Lewotobi Perempuan, which is the female one. The male one is about 1,580 meters tall, and the female one is about 1,700 meters tall. This volcano's been erupting on and off for about the past 2 years. It started erupting pretty consistently in about 2023, and they have been some very big eruptions. You can see from this footage here, this is the one that happened just a couple of weeks back when it caused all that chaos across Bali with flights not being able to land or depart. That volcanic eruption went to 11 kilometres in height. It was a big eruption and caused a lot of chaos, and it took quite a few hours for that ash cloud to drift across to Bali. Because of that, we have some precedent. We can go on that and predict what's going to happen in the future with this most recent eruption. The volcano this time erupted at 11 AM local time. Now, it is currently 2:30 PM local time, so it happened 3.5 hours ago, and we're only now starting to get a bit of information about what's going on. This time, it looks like this. Look how big this eruption is this time. It's massive.
Komandan, saat ini terjadi hujan batu kritis di sekitar Bali Komandan. Situasi masih terpantau aman terkendali. Perkembangan akan saya sampaikan Komandan.
So the last one was 11 kilometres high. This one's reached 18 kilometres high. Really quite high, a perfect sort of level for aircraft. When it gets to that sort of level, you're basically wiping out any sort of airspace that you might be able to fly over the top of it from. Aircraft normally fly at around the, up to what, 12, 13 kilometres high. This is much higher than that. So it's a complete obstruction of the airspace around the volcano. But that's not the main problem. The main problem is that wind pushes that ash in different directions. And at this time of year, it's pushing from the very east to the west towards Bali. Oh, a kitten. I love kittens. Look at this thing. It's up in the tree. Sorry to interrupt my volcano update with that little kitten. Look at that beautiful thing there. So let's look at the volcanic ash forecast map. This is going to give us some really good insights into what's going to happen over the next coming 6, 12 and 18 hours. So in the top left pane, what we have here is the situation as at 12:50 local time. So that's almost 2 hours ago now. This map will have been updated by the time you watch this video because I've got to get home, put it together and upload it. But this is as at 12:50 local time. And what you can see there is not much is happening. The ash cloud has moved across the eastern part of Indonesia, but not much else is happening. But what they're forecasting is that in the next 6 hours, by the time we get to 7 o'clock at night, that ash cloud, which reaches to 48,000 feet, well above what aircraft fly at, will then have covered most of the island to the west of Flores, which is called Sumbawa. So the whole of Flores is covered, Sumbawa is covered, and the top half of Sumba is covered. Go ahead another 6 hours And now we're getting into 1 a.m. Bali time. The ash cloud by 1 a.m. Bali time has been forecast to cover the entire island of Bali. Now, luckily, this is sort of going to hit really, really late in the day. So if you've got a flight arriving earlier than say 9 p.m, it may not be impacted. But after that, you're really sort of touch and go. If we fast forward another 6 hours, so we're getting now to 7 a.m. tomorrow, we get the whole of Bali completely engulfed by that ash cloud. When I say engulfed, I don't mean like ash fall in Bali. I mean, for the purposes of aircraft flying around, it's going to be problematic. According to the predictions from the Volcanic Ash Centre, or the Volcanic Activity Centre, which is based in Darwin, operated by the Australian Bureau of Meteorology. We'll just zip across here to Flight Radar 24, where we have a similar map, but it's color-coded. So what we can see here is a green little line there. It's hardly visible. That's what the situation will be in 6 hours after this picture was taken. So we're talking about 7 o'clock tonight. But by 1 a.m, that yellow marking will cover the entirety of Sumbawa again. And then we get to the red cloud, which then covers the entirety of Bali in 18 hours after the time of this, which gets us into 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Much like, I mean, I think this data is actually pulled from that previous report I just gave you, but it's overlaid a little bit better onto a sort of a Google map type arrangement. What we already know is that there are a number of flights which have been cancelled into Larantuka and Maumere in the east of Flores. That makes sense, the ash cloud is there right now. But as the day goes on, we're anticipating that airports like Labuan Bajo in the western side of Flores are going to be closed. We would anticipate it, it's not guaranteed, we're not there yet. But the main concern is, as it travels further west, it starts getting involved in some international airports, such as the one on Lombok, which is a much busier airport than Labuan Bajo, and then eventually Bali, which has hundreds of flights every day. They could be severely impacted. Now, what has to happen is we have to keep up to date on what's going on with the airlines. Your airline is going to be your best bet, but I'm going to keep an update here as well if things deteriorate. If it all blows over and it's not a big deal, I'm not going to try and amp it up or anything like that. I'm just going to give you information when it's going to be impacting travel. As a reminder of what happened last time when this volcano erupted 2 or 3 weeks ago, a lot of airlines cancelled flights. Not every airline, so some airlines decided they're going to risk it and they flew in, including some airlines from Australia. They decided to fly in and they were fine. Other airlines were a lot more conservative. Airlines like Singapore Airlines cancelled flights, Qantas, Jetstar cancelled flights. I know that Virgin cancelled flights. So it was a bit of a mixed bag really on who decided to cancel and who didn't. I noticed though that a lot of the domestic airlines in Indonesia, they didn't bother cancelling flights. They just flew in, they didn't care. But those airlines that were flying from a long way away, they were taking a cautious approach because they didn't want to get sort of halfway to Indonesia and then find that they had to turn around or go and dump their passengers in some sort of city that they weren't ready to handle, such as, you know, diverting to Surabaya, or maybe if you're coming from Australia, having to divert to Darwin. And, you know, instead of leaving, they decided to cancel the flights, see what happens with the situation and go the next day. This thing was done and dusted within about 24 hours last time it happened. And hopefully this time it doesn't cause any impacts and it is over relatively quickly. So there you have it. That's my update on the eruption of Gunung Lewotobi Laki-laki. If you want to keep up to date with the eruption, please subscribe. If you want to keep up to date with other Bali stuff, say you're coming on holiday to Bali and you want to get a bit more info, make sure you subscribe too. I've got plenty of info about Sanur in particular, but other places in Bali as well that I like to go around. And you might just learn a thing and you might just enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time. Sampai jumpa.